Hi everyone, in this video we will see how to sum or total in Excel. We'll take a look at the sum function, the Autosum feature and the various variations of the sum function. We'll also take a look at the common mistakes that you encounter when using the sum function.
So here already I have some data. It's marks of the various subjects. So let's say for Rahul you want to add up the sum of the marks. So what you do is use the sum function. And once you enter sum, then you have to select the range of values that you want to add. So in this case I'll select these range of cells, and then once I've done that I'll close the brackets and then I'll enter. So you see it has calculated the sum of all these values for Rahul. Now here the values are placed horizontally, but you can do the addition vertically also. So if I had to add these values, I would just go here, say is equal to, type sum, and then select the range of values, close the parenthesis and then enter, and you get the sum. Now there's another way of calculating the sum. There's this Autosum feature. You see here the sum. So you can use that directly instead of typing in the sum function. To use that, I just select the range of values that I want to add, and then I just go here and then I'll click on the Autosum feature and it automatically calculates the total. I could do this way also. Just select the range of values and then click on the Autosum feature. See, it adds the value. You can also use the sum function to add values in cells that are not next to each other. So you can say sum, I can choose marks for maths, English, art. So in this case it will show me the total for just the 3 subjects. You can also use the sum function to add up different sections of the spreadsheet. For example, I can say sum, I can choose the first 3 values, I'll say comma, and then I'll select the last 3 values. So when you enter, it will give me the sum of the first 3 values and the last 3 values. So basically you can sum different ranges of values. Next we're going to take a look at the various variations of the sum function. So you have the SUMIF and the SUMIFS function. These let you total based on criteria. SUMIF lets you add based on 1 criteria. SUMIFS lets you add based on 2 criteria. So here's an example of how to use SUMIF. We will try to total the quantity based on the salesperson John. So to total based on John, we'll use the SUMIF function. It takes 3 parameters. First is the range of rows within which the criteria is located. So basically we give the range in the salesperson column, and then we say we want to look for John, pick up the rows for John. Third parameter says which column you want to add, which is this one. So the first one is the range within which Excel should look, then you have John, and then finally the column which you want to total. So when you do that, you get the answer 23. You can see John, and John thrice it has appeared, 5, 12 and 6. So there is 23. Same you can do for phones, like of all the products, how many phones were sold in total. So when you do the SUMIF, we'll give this as the range, and within that you want to look for phone, and once you find phone, you add up the total. So this is the column which you want to add. So you get the total as 57. You have phone here and phone here. So 10, 12 and 20, which makes it 57. The next one, you have 2 criteria. Here you will total the same thing, quantity, but based on John and phones. So you will give SUMIFS. Now in this case, the first column is the column that you want to add. Next, which is this one, G4 to 11. Next is the criteria. The first criteria is we want John as a salesperson. So we give D4 is the salesperson column, and then we say within that look for John. After that, you look at the range for the second criteria. So the second range we'll provide is the product. You want to look within product, and within product you want to look for phone. SUMIFS. G4 is the quantity one which you want to add. D4 is the range for the first criteria. Look for John within that. E4 is the range for the second criteria, which is the product, and within that you look for phone. So you get 12. Same you can say North region sales in January. So you provide this range, look for North within that, and then second range will be this, and look for Jan within that. So if G4 is the quantity column, next is the region column, within that you give North, next comes the month range, within that you provide Jan. So it will provide you the total quantity
for the north region in the month of Jan. So this is how SUMIF and SUMIFS function work. There's also the SUMPRODUCT function. So in SUMPRODUCT I have given G4, which is the quantity, and H, which is the unit price. So sum of the product of these two columns. You can change the range depending on your requirement. So G4 is the quantity and the unit price, so it will provide you the total sales for all the products. So those were the variations of SUM function. Next we look at the common mistakes that one encounters when using the SUM function. First is the circular reference error. So here, say these three numbers I want to add. So now when doing the sum, if instead of giving the three numbers, I also include 67, which is the cell where I'm displaying the sum, then it gives an error. It creates a circular reference error. So I have to include only these three cells. I should not be including the fourth cell where the sum is displayed. So when something like this happens, it returns 0, or it might give you incorrect total. You may also encounter an error if the number is stored as text. You can easily identify that a number is a text if it is left aligned. So numbers in Excel are right aligned. So when you sum, it may skip the cell with the text, or it may show you 0. In this case, it has skipped the cell containing the text. You also make errors when you give wrong range selection. Say for example, you mean to add these three. So but instead of the colon, you give a comma. So now that changes the value. Comma means you are adding only the selected cells. So if by mistake you give a comma instead of colon, it will give you a wrong total. You use the colon for selecting a range of cells. So these are the common errors that you may encounter when using the SUM function. So in this video we looked at SUM, SUMIF, SUMIFS and the SUMPRODUCT function. So hope that was useful. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching the video.